All right, it's all about being an intelligent investor. I'm gonna talk for a second about what I wish people had told me when I was growing up about the game of money. And make no mistake, money is kind of like a game. Most people don't know how to play it, and only a few do. And it's not just because where you're born. It's primarily about what's inside your head. So, what are a few tips? I get this question a lot. How people say, they know I'm an investor and they go, how can I become an investor? And unfortunately, I had to learn a lot of it the hard way. So hopefully this will save you a little bit of time on your path. I'm gonna lean back here. Hope I don't fall down my balcony. So number one thing, without a doubt, is you have to understand the concept of how to calculate value. So if you look at great investors like Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, George Soros, these people that have made billions of dollars as investors, they understand that the big definitive moment is the moment you buy something. So let's say you want to be a real estate investor. It's not just about, do you buy and hold? It's not just about, do you rent? Do you flip? Do you renovate? Do you change the use? What it's about is, what was that beginning price that you paid? And so this concept of being able to calculate value, you can make it as simple or as complicated as you want. There's whole textbooks written on how to do this, intrinsic value, all these complicated terms. But let me keep it real simple for you. Common sense. Common sense. So back in 2007, 2008, what happened? Why did people lose so much money? Some of it was fraud, some of it were bad people in high places, but a lot of it was just simply people forgetting common sense rules. Houses that could only rent out for $2 or $3 grand a month were selling for $1 or $2 million. And so what you have to do is be able to look at a little bit of historical values. And that old cliche that what goes up must come down, there's a lot of truth to that. When there's a huge bubble building, you'll see this dramatic increase in anything. Cars, houses, if you want to buy businesses, if you want to invest in the stock market, you must become a master at understanding intrinsic value, or what that really means in simple terms is the value that you can afford to pay for something. If you get that wrong, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle for the rest of your life. And that's what happened to people in the bubble in 2008. The internet bubble in 2001, what happened there? People ignored common freaking sense. Companies that didn't have any revenue were being valued at billions of dollars. Companies that didn't even have a website were being valued at tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. Never forget, what goes up must come down. Or, as what Warren Buffett says that I love so much, he says, when the tide comes in, you'll see who's swimming naked. What that means is when common sense rules the day, you'll see all the people that didn't make any sense in their investments. So what you want to do, and that's the real intricacies of how to know how to value things are outside of this little talk I'm doing here for 5 or 10 minutes. But I wanted to throw that out there because start getting in that in your brain. I have to be good at finding what the initial general range of the price that I should pay for this investment should be. The range, you're never going to get it down. You're never going to be like, oh, this house is worth $213,000, or this business is worth $742,000, or this stock is worth $18 a share. You need to be able to get in the range of it. The range, this is a range game, it's between 200, 250. Stocks between $8 and $12. You get that right, and sure, you may not make as much money, but you definitely sure as hell won't lose as much money as people who are always riding the bubble up. Remember, what goes up must come down. And when the tide comes in the investor world, people who tried to make money and didn't do it the right way, the tide's going to come in and you're going to see they were swimming naked. So that's number one. And that's by far the most important rule. This is the rule that Warren Buffett, he believes this so much, he calls himself a value investor. What that means is he's all about figuring out the value. He doesn't care about the trends. He doesn't care about what Wall Street Journal says. He doesn't care whether, they're predicting a recession. He says, let me buy stuff at a fair price. Okay. Now, number two, most important rule in this game of making money. And this, by the way, I don't care if you're watching this, you're 12 years old or you're 30, 50, 80, this still applies. The economic market doesn't care about your age. It's not going to give you a break because you're young, okay? So the second rule And so let me add that, because a lot of people are asking me, they're like, hey Ty, I'm this age, what book should I read? What I'm telling you right now is just the rules of the game. Basketball is the same rule at all age, so is making money. So the good news is you don't have to worry about your age, because if you get these rules down, you can make money at any age, especially now. It's never been that way really in the history of the world. All right, the second is you must have some liquidity. Now, what is that, a fancy word? That means you must become a master of having some cash in the bank. So if you want to be a good investor, what happens, I've made this mistake before. If all your money's invested, all your money's tied up, you're spending all your money in your daily expenses, and you have what I call, quote unquote, you don't have your own opportunity fund, then things are going to pass you by and you will never see them again. So many great investments are missed. And it could be buying a house, it could be a car even, sometimes are good investments. I got to drive a Bugatti the other day. Man, Bugattis go up in value. These $1 million Bugattis are now $2 million. Although cars tend to be not the greatest investment. Get a car because you like to drive them for fun. But anyway, so liquidity. You got to ask yourself, now, if you don't have much money, that doesn't matter. Open up a bank account, have $100 in there. I missed out on some huge opportunities in my life. Maxim magazine was for sale. Missed out on that because I was tied up doing other stuff. And you need, so this rule number 2, I'm gonna give you 2 and 2B, 2A and 2B. So liquidity of cash. But the next one, you gotta have liquidity of time. If you are completely busy, you're gonna miss opportunities because nobody tells you about the good opportunities. You have to go search them yourself. That's why great investors like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, they read 250 to 1,000 pages a day. A day. 250 to 1,000 pages a day. What are they reading? They read 5 different newspapers. They read magazines. They're reading articles. They're reading books. They're uncovering hidden value that most people don't see. So you got to have liquidity of cash, have an opportunity fund, but you also have to have a liquidity of time. So if you're one of those people that packs up your life, every moment of your day is scheduled out, well, you better quit that, or you're going to be a lot poorer than you would be if you set up some time. It can be 5 minutes. I call it the 15+ rule. Whatever your current amount of time that you have free to get knowledge about investments is, add 15 minutes a week or 15 minutes a month to it. So if you're doing 0 now, this week do 15 minutes a day. That's not that hard. If you're already spending 15 minutes, do 30 minutes. And I'm gonna talk about this more. I'm gonna do I've been doing these live online talks. So if you wanna learn the new rules of money, I'm gonna show you kind of each of these points. So I think we put a link either up or below and you can click it. And yeah, I'm gonna do a talk. I just did one the other day, like 7,000, I think 10,000 people showed up. So click the link and grab a spot before it rolls out. But so 2A, 2B, liquidity of money. And even if you're broke now, start setting aside 15 bucks. 15 is better than nothing. If you have some money, you got 100 grand, put 15,000 of it in an opportunity fund bank account. All right, so that's the second thing. And the third thing to become a great investor is you must master fear. Because all the greats have always said that when everybody's freaking out, you should get excited. And when everybody's excited, you should freak out. Why is that true? Well, most people are illogical and they're emotional. And so what happens is, take 2008. When the market crashed, and I don't mean to use 2008. I know a lot of people got hurt and I feel bad for that. So I'm not trying to say you want to exploit that. But what happens in the open markets, and you can't stop this, it's just going to happen. It's not illegal, it's not unethical, it's just the way supply and demand goes. Everybody started dumping their houses, right? Because all of a sudden banks, loans were getting all crazy and people couldn't afford their mortgage. So at that point, when everybody was fearful and saying, get out of houses, sell your houses, guess what? Houses got cheap because the market was flooded. So the supply went up of houses, demand was low. So that means you could pick up houses. I knew people, no joke, my buddy was picking up houses in Las Vegas for 10 to 20,000 bucks. Remember back the first rule? Intrinsic value. I mean, these houses had wood and materials in them worth more than 10 to 20,000. They call that book value. The book value of this stuff, just or the assets, the net worth of these properties was 40 grand. He was buying it for 10 or 20. It's hard to not make money. That's a good rule of making money. You follow that rule, you're gonna make money. My friend buying houses in the Midwest. Businesses, I bought a business. I bought businesses and doubled my money in 1 month. Why? Because the people in the business were fearful. All right, so that's the third thing. The fourth thing is, don't be afraid though to spend money when you need to, because people get cheap. Donald Trump, one of his tricks, his dad told him, who was a real estate investor, never buy real estate in Manhattan, it's too expensive. He said, just buy here in Brooklyn. Well, his dad didn't realize that the reason New York, Manhattan was more expensive is because there was more demand to be right there in the city. So Donald Trump wasn't afraid to pay more, but he still wanted to pay. He didn't want to get, you know, you don't want to get gutted. He didn't pay 10 times more than what it was worth, but he was okay with paying a fair price. Warren Buffett, if you buy businesses, I like to buy businesses more than real estate. Warren Buffett says, you know, it's okay, it's better to buy a good business at a fair price than a crappy business at a low price. And that's why I say it's not just about price, it's about the value delivered of the real estate, of the business, of the stock. This is how the game of investing and money works. So yeah, these are 4 things. There's a lot more about them. You could spend your life learning this stuff, and it's fun, you know. That's the problem with school. They make all this stuff not seem fun. You know, it is fun. Felix Dennis, one of the richest men in Europe, he died recently, and he's actually the founder of Maxim and some big magazines. He was an interesting guy, a poet. He did a cool TED Talk. You know, he said, never forget that making money is a game. Don't take yourself too seriously. Have fun with it. Not everybody needs to be a millionaire or billionaire, but you need to be financially independent. You can't be dying all the time, you know? So a lot of people see me, you know, in my house like this now, but I haven't always been like that. Dude, I've been broke. I was born in a bad part of LA. Long Beach, single mom and all that stuff, sleeping on a couch with no money, no degree. And so what got me off that is literally these rules of money. So I gave you 4, I gave you a quick version. There's about, well, there's a lot. I don't know how many there are, but there's a solid kind of like 12 that I try to follow. So click the link here, and it's completely free. You don't have to put a credit card in or anything. It's just a free live online talk. You can ask questions and stuff and interact, and I'll be giving you those 12 rules. Understand this stuff. I'm telling you, do not waste your life. One of the great investors said, the bad thing about life is financially, if you get behind, you might have to spend a decade digging your way out. So if you're already in a hole, these 12 rules I'm going to give you, they're going to help you dig yourself out. And if you're, you know, just starting out, these will keep you from ever having to do it. And for those of you who are already making money, this will allow you to 10x what you're doing, okay? So anyway, click the link. I'll see you on the live talk. Talk to you guys soon.